There are a lot of good football coaches out there. And to me, the three things that make a good football coach: recruiting. Even in the NFL, personnel/recruiting. Game planning. Do you create great game plans? And the third thing is adjusting. And you'd be amazed how many guys are great coaches and they're not good at the adjusting thing. Now, Nick Saban's great at all three. He's A-plus recruiter, A-plus game planner, A-plus adjuster. The one thing I'll say is not every great coach is a great recruiter. Not every great coach was the best game planner. All great coaches can adjust. That is the one. A great coach can adjust when things go sideways, when water's coming through the boat. Every great coach can adjust. Pete Carroll's a great adjuster. Bill Belichick, great adjuster. Nick Saban last night put on a clinic of how to adjust. Last night was a clinic. There were so many things that went wrong for Alabama last night. First of all, the game was in Atlanta. The crowd was 70-30 Georgia. It was a little bit like a neutral field/road game. That wasn't ideal. Number two, they fall behind 13-0 with a quarterback that's not really a vertical passing threat. Bama's way better playing ahead than behind with that quarterback. The third thing that went wrong, they missed 2 field goals. One of them, a complete gimme late to tie it. Number 4, they had a review go against them on a touchdown. It could have easily been overturned. The Georgia kid had his heel on the sideline. I'm glad the refs let it happen. I really am. Don't take away great plays. But that could have easily gone Alabama's way. You watch these officials. It didn't. Number 5, they put a freshman quarterback in overtime. They put him in at half, but at overtime, he takes the worst sack a player's ever taken in overtime. It was a great player. He's the next Russell Wilson, but it was a horrendous play. The 6th thing to go against him, he had a player collapse on the sidelines. You don't think that's unnerving? They had a young man collapse on the sidelines. Number 7, they had a player get into a fight on the sidelines, apparently with a coach. Number 8, they lost their left tackle early in the second half. Folks, they had 8 things not go their way. But when Bama trails in games, time seems to sit still. Because here's Saban throwing the kitchen sink, coaching to the minute, to the play. He's not one of those old guys with his arms crossed. He's yelling at players. He's yelling at kickers. He's yelling at quarterback. He's yelling at coordinator. He's yelling at assistants. My friends, that is coaching. That is adjusting. Nick Saban's 65. He's got the energy of a 32-year-old. He was coaching his butt off last night because he had 8 things that didn't go his way. I mean, everybody's saying this morning, well, obviously you'd have to replace the quarterback at half. Well, a couple years ago, Les Miles obviously should have replaced a quarterback at half, and he didn't. Obviously, Oklahoma should have gone for it in overtime against Georgia with 4th and 1.5 with the best offensive line in football and Baker Mayfield and the crappy defense. They didn't do it. Obviously, with 8 minutes to go last night, Georgia shouldn't have gone conservative, and they did. You tell me it's obvious they should have made that halftime adjustment. A lot of things are obvious. Andy Reid only gave Kareem Hunt the ball 5 times in Kansas City in the second half. It's obvious that Andy Reid, a good coach, should have given him the ball more. But a lot of coaches don't do the obvious. Alabama had a ton go wrong last night. It was a partial road game. Lost their left tackle. Benched their 25-2 last year Conference Player of the Year quarterback. There were a player collapsing on the sideline. A player got into a fight in the sideline. They missed 2 field goals, won a chip shot late. And they just figured out how to do it. And everybody sees Nick Saban as rigid, unbending. Yet he was so fluid last night. He was so willing to listen to his coordinators. He was so willing on the fly to make things up. I thought it was his best coaching effort of all time. I've watched every national championship for Alabama. Sometimes they've just had the better team. Last night was world-class coaching. Great quarterbacks can win like Drew Brees Sunday with no running game. Great coaches win when everything goes wrong. 8 different issues which could have capsized Bama. And there is Nick. every stinking play in the second half. Barking at this, barking at that. Trainers, doctors, coordinators, coaches, punters, kickers. That was Nick Saban's greatest moment by far, and he's a great coach. That's what coaching is. A lot of guys can recruit. A lot of guys can game plan. Not all of them can adjust. Bill Belichick down 28-3 at half. That's a legendary coach. That stuff last night by Alabama was amazing. All right. I'm going to take a deep breath. Because I'm going to go crazy for a couple of minutes, Kristine, if you will. Just let me go crazy for 3 minutes.
Just 3?
Just 3.
Okay. Deal.
If something works, don't fight it. If something works, don't fight it. If I have to hear another person tell me how bad the college football overtime is, I'm going to stick a fork in my retina. The best 30 minutes of my life in the last week have been the 15 minutes overtime last night and the 15 minutes of Oklahoma, Georgia. It works. Nobody's turning the TV off with that stuff. Yes, the college football overtime is so drastic, they eliminate punters and return guys. By the way, the Rams have the best punter in football, couldn't win a playoff game. Chiefs have the best kickoff returner, couldn't win a playoff game. Nobody's winning playoff games, Super Bowls, and national titles because you got a good punter. You're not changing the game. You're not asking guys to grab a pitching wedge or a lacrosse stick or a goalie mask or a basketball or a ping pong paddle. What you're doing is you're taking your best players that play positions that win Super Bowl, quarterback, running back, left tackle, center, Mike linebacker, nose tackle, pass rusher, corner, safety. You're putting your most crucial players, field goal kicker and coach, in a small do-or-die area. And you're saying, after 4 hours of beating the living out of each other, now we're going to put you in the red zone. It's situational football, and that's what decides Super Bowls. That's what decides national championships, not punters and return guys. And by the way, if you play for 60 minutes of game time and 4 hours of real time, and the box score is even and the game is even, you've gotten a few calls, you've been butchered on a few calls, you've made a few tackles, you missed a few tackles. I know you're even. Now I'm going to give the cream rises to the top in situational football. Who rose to the top in situational football? The best quarterback on the field and the best coach on the field. The best punter, who cares? The best kickoff returner, who cares? Nobody's winning a natty on those qualities. Now, I'm not to say they can't win you a game. LA Rams have a great punter. Tyreek Hill for the Chiefs, good return guy. But you're winning with Ben, with Brady, with Manning, with Favre, with Elway. You're winning with great left tackles. Ray Lewis at Mike linebacker. You're winning with better people up front. College football in overtime simply edits out the stuff that's really, over the course of a season, not winning or losing you championships. And by the way, if you love punters so much, how come when I go to a stadium, nobody's wearing the punter jersey? You never see that. You never see anybody wearing a punter's jersey at the stadium. So don't whine when we eliminate it from the college football playoff. Last night was amazing. Oklahoma, Georgia was amazing. All you're doing is what the movie studios do. What every television show you like does. You just edit out the parts that aren't as crucial. You shoot 42 hours of film, you edit it to 28 hours, 9 hours, 4 hours, down to 2 hours and 1 minute. And even then, to the last day before you release it, you're still editing. All you're doing in the college football overtime is you're putting your best people in do-or-die areas, and the cream rises to the top. Who was the best coach last night? Saban. He rose to the top. By the end of that game, who was the best athlete quarterback on the field? Bama. It rose to the top. It works. It's captivating. I've said this with soccer. If you play for 90 minutes and you're tied at 1, and then you do another overtime and you're still tied, then you put goalie, 2 best strikers. We're doing penalty kicks. You edit out the stuff at midfield that's not deciding a game over 90 minutes. Because if you're tied after 90 and another overtime, I got no problem with kicks. These are 19-year-old kids. They beat on each other for 4 hours. Okay, now let's make situational football, the most interesting, by the way, red zone football, the red zone channel. They didn't create a punting channel. They didn't create a special teams channel. They didn't create a between the 30 channel. They created a red zone channel. That's what you like. Football in crisis, where the best coaches, quarterbacks, left tackles, running backs, receivers, corners, safeties win. And the best last night won. Stop whining about something that has been the best 30 minutes of our sports life in the last week. Oklahoma, Georgia OT, cream rose to the top. The scared coaches at Oklahoma lost. And Bama, Georgia overtime. The best coach and athlete on the field won the game. Cream rises, overtime elevates that. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.